Hello everyone, Kirk here with Kirk's Motorrad Shop in Crystal Lake, Illinois, bringing you a do-it-yourself video. Today's video is going to be how to do a valve adjustment on a K1600. This is not going to be the valve check. If you need to do a valve check, please see one of my other videos on doing just that. This is if you've already checked your valves and now you need to do an adjustment. This K1600 definitely needs an adjustment. I ran this bike, I heard it run, it was ticking very loudly. I've checked all these valves and there are 6 valves that are out of spec on here. And they're all on the intake side. It makes me believe that somebody was in here before and pulled all the buckets out and got them screwed up and then put them all back in, because none of them are tight. They are really, really, really loose. Some of them are so far loose that they're like over 2 times out of spec. So I don't even know how that happens, and I don't see any physical damage right now on the cam lobes. But if you're at the point where you want to adjust your valves, this is how you're going to do it. You definitely do need, it is a requirement, you have to have special tools for this job. This kit right here is from BMW. Do not do this job without this kit. You will mess up your bike and it will be a disaster. And I'm not fixing it for you if you screw it up. Well, maybe I will. But anyways, this tool kit here, you can see it's got some special tools in here. We're going to go through what those are for. But if you don't have this tool kit, there's a part number. Go look for it. Maybe you can find a used one out there. Maybe not. But regardless, the nutshell of this job is we're going to be making it at the number 1 cylinder is going to be at top dead center, and then we need to use these other tools to basically hold this carrier down. So right here on the top is a carrier. This needs to get pressed down, and then we need to remove all of the nuts holding on the cam carrier, remove the cam carrier, and then we have to physically remove the cams. So I'm not sure if I have to remove the exhaust cam, because none of those are out of spec. I might be able to just leave that alone and just leave it in the bike. Only if I can get the other cam out. I don't know until I attempt that. Hey, by the way, if you do like these videos and you want me to work on your bike, hit me up at Kirk at kirksmotorrad.com. There'll be a link right down in the description. You can also reach me through my contact page at kirksmotorrad.com, and maybe you're going to see your bike right here on my lift and having a video made out of it. So the gentleman that owns this did not over rev the bike or anything like that. He does know how to ride, and he doesn't abuse this bike. It's really just a traveler for him, and it's been ticking for a while though, and I'm really hoping there's not some physical damage here that I'm going to have to cope with. But let's get going on this job right now. So again, your bike is probably going to be in this condition here, where the valve cover is removed and you're ready to actually go ahead and start doing this job. So let's get on with it. So what we have to do is get the bike into top dead center, and it's really close right now. These two are very, very close to top dead center. And we're going to take this tool out of the kit, this little pin, and we're going to insert it right here in this hole that's right by the crank. So if it doesn't fit in there, I'm going to just move it just a little bit and push it on this thing at the same time, and hopefully it'll drop into place. There we go. So it's going to fit all the way to the bottom. Now we know that the engine is locked in top dead center. Now with the engine at top dead center, we're going to take these tools right here You got a thin threaded area as well as a coarse thread. This goes into the spark plug hole on number 1, number 4, and number 6. So you got 3 of them there. I'm going to screw these in and take them all the way down to where they bottom out. Guys, again, if you don't have these tools, don't think that you can do this job. Please don't. With those all the way in there, you're going to take these parts and screw these onto the ends. I'm going to do the best I can when it comes to keeping this thing in focus. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the chain tensioner, which is right here. It's on the right side of the engine. I'm going to pull these out of the way because I don't think I've got quite enough room. Make sure that the gasket stays on here. You can reuse this. And I'm just going to pull that assembly out. This is a spring-loaded assembly, so just pull it out. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to mark so we can get these back in the same place. Just going to clean them up a little bit and make some marks on here. Get a paint marker. There we go. And we'll go this one. There we go. The last thing we want to do is get something screwed up. The other thing you could do too is color in a whole tooth or a whole area here, but I think this is going to serve me pretty well. I'll make an example over here on this one. Like, let's go there and then it goes in between there. You can do like that too. Now this is going to identify the intake side for me. And then this single mark, which I could do it again. I'll make it double mark over here. So the other way you can, if you think you're going to screw up the cams, you're really not. So there's actually a gear that is on the intake side. That is where your cam sensor picks up, and it's the only one that has that little cam or gear on there on the cam itself. All right, you got this plastic part right here that covers up the chain. We're going to remove that. And you want to be very, very careful, guys, when removing this stuff, so that you don't drop the nuts down into the engine. That would be, so what I'm going to do is loosen them up a little bit, just to get them kind of off the caps. And then I've got a magnetic socket, but unfortunately it's a little bit too shallow. So I'm not going to be able to, grab it the whole way. But this is going to help me now pull the nut off of there. And I can just pull this off right here and set that down. And now this is pretty much loosened up. The cams are going to loosen themselves a little bit here as I loosen this off. But the next part of this is to remove all 28 nuts that are holding this on. There's 30 altogether with the little cover that goes right here, that little plastic part. But all the rest of the 28 nuts now have to come off, and just be careful that you don't drop any of them down in the engine. Okay, so I'm going to loosen some up. And then I'm going to use my magnet tool to take them off the rest of the way. So I'm going to go through and remove all of these. You guys will be able to figure that out on your own, and I will pick it up immediately after getting all those off. Once you have all of the nuts removed, now we're going to remove the bearing cap. And in order to do that, I'll wipe this oil off. Not necessary, but I like to keep it clean. We're going to now slacken these off a little bit, so just uniformly. So I'm going to go a little half turn, if I can turn it. Apparently I can't. Okay, I'm going to make sure we got, they're loose enough to turn. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to turn it. Well, I thought I was going to turn it. Turn it. Turn it. So we're just going to loosen these off one at a time here. Have your rags down there because you can see the oil pouring out. We're going to loosen these off until this thing becomes completely loose to the point that we're going to be able to remove that cap altogether. So some of the valves are under a lot of pressure, so there is going to be resistance to moving this thing off of here. So just use the inside part here as kind of a gauge to make sure that you are staying even. If you see that one side is coming up faster than the other, stop what you're doing, level them off, pull up on the cap, and you should be able to straighten it out to the point that it's going to hold there okay. All right, at this point the bearing cap is very loose, and it is about to pop off of there. So now we can pull these nuts off of here. Okay, it's ready to come off. Just make sure that the cams stay down. Okay, you don't want the cams to come off with the bearing cap. So just go slow, remove it slowly, and just lift it right off of there. There we go. So now the part where we marked the sprockets here is going to come in very handy, because we have to now remove the chain from the gears as we remove the cams. So right now I'm removing these little guidance studs here. So before I pull the cams off, I'm going to go ahead and remove any additional O-rings that are still here in the head. Okay, you got these O-rings. You're going to replace all these O-rings. There's these here, and then there's smaller ones. There's two smaller ones that go along the way here. They're probably stuck, as you can see, on the bottom side of this. So we want to make sure that if they are stuck there, got one more stud to pull off on the other side here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and remove the intake cam. I'm gonna be able to do that without removing the exhaust cam. I do not need to remove that. So right here on the sprocket, just lift the chain off, pull it towards you, and you should have enough room to go ahead and pull that cam out of there. I'm gonna hold onto the chain. I'm going to place an object actually right in between as well once I get the cam out. So let's lift that out, set it down, and I'm going to place this in the way. There we go. So guys, don't sweat it too much if you pull off the cam and you're like, oh my gosh, which one is this? Here's that notch that I was saying that's on the intake side. You got this little part here that is not on the exhaust side at all. That's where your sensor picks up. So this next part is where you're going to have to be doing some math and writing things down. Okay, get a piece of paper, and what you're going to do is you're going to take a magnet, touch it onto one of these valve buckets. And then right underneath the valve bucket, right inside here, is going to be the number that it is. In this case, this one is 2.875. Okay, I know you probably can't see that, but that's what we're reading here. Maybe you can if I shine a flashlight into it. See, it's 2.875. I'm going to write that down, and if this is one of the ones that needs to be adjusted, I'm going to actually measure this with a micrometer to see, is it actually 2.875 or very close to that. So I'm going to go get my piece of paper here. Just going to set that right back in for now. See which ones. As I mentioned earlier in this, there's actually 6 of them across the whole thing that are out of spec. I don't know what's going on with this. And okay, in this case, this one is okay. This next one was at 0.25, so I'm gonna be adjusting this particular valve bucket. So I'm gonna see what it says, and it says 2.875. And I am definitely going to be measuring this. There's actually a little bit of rust on the inside of this. I'm sure you probably can see that in the video. I'm hoping I can bring this in for enough for a close-up too. We're probably going to see some other damage or something on some of the other ones. You can see there is a little bit of, almost like a divot there. There's a little edge where that valve has been pressing up against this valve bucket. So I'm going to write this one down, okay? This is 2.875. I'm going to just write it down, and I'm going to put it back for now. Now the number 5 one here, this one right here, was wildly out of spec. So let's see what we're looking at here. Again, I'm seeing rust on the back side of this. And I don't think that's all that big of a deal to have a little bit of rust there, because the humidity from the engine would obviously go up and touch that. But this is one oh wow, I can actually feel it. So this cap is actually damaged. And I think it probably got a little bit out of spec, and then it became very out of spec. And this one is damaged down there at the bottom. You can see it. You can really, I'm sure you can see that in the video. I'm hoping my caliper will get down into that little spot, because this one is a 2.850. It might be that I can put a 2.850 back in here and actually get to where it needs to be. I don't know. We're going to find out. I hope I don't have to do this job twice. So guys, I'm going to go through and see what these are. I will turn the video on if I find any more of these that are quite damaged like this one is. And I'm really hoping I can figure out what this actually is reading right now versus what it should read. So I'll bring it back. So guys, this 2.850, where it's supposed to be 2.850, it's actually reading right there. You can see it. 2.6. That would definitely account for a lot. So I'm getting ready to reinstall the bearing cap. I've adjusted the valves, and I know some of you guys are going to be very interested in exactly what I did on this thing. So what I did was I took the original valve size and I simply added 0.05 to it, and the ones that were really close, I had a couple that were just a little bit out of spec, but because they were a little bit hammered, I added just 0.25 to that spec. So I'm going to put this thing back together, and then I'm going to manually run it over and check the valves again before I ever apply power to this thing, just to see if I'm close. If I'm not close enough, then I'm going to go back through the whole procedure again, removing all this stuff. The only thing I won't be doing is replacing all these O-rings again, all these rubber O-rings and stuff. These will not be replaced again. I'll reuse the ones that I just put in because they're going to be brand new. So that's really what I'm going to be doing. Maybe I'll bring it back after I'm done altogether and let you know how it went, through the next check. And yeah, that's where I'm at. So it's really, I think what happened here, looking, you know, just thinking about what could have happened here is, and this is just a speculation at this point, but I feel like when this bike was brand new, maybe the valves, they were in spec. Of course they were when they left the factory, but maybe they were a little bit on the loose side. And over time, they started hammering a little bit, getting more loose, and then either the next check or the initial check was not done, or it wasn't done properly, and it was just left to go, and then it only got worse from there. So that's really what I think happened here. I initially was speculating, did somebody actually you know, check the valves and mess them all up? And I don't think that's the case. I think that they were really just a matter of they weren't checked properly. They weren't checked at the proper interval, and they weren't adjusted when they needed to be adjusted. Had they been, this would not be the issue right now. I don't even know that it would have been a thing whatsoever. But it is a thing. 6 valves at once out is astronomical on one of these. It's unheard of. Guys, if you know of something like this happening before on a K1600, even if you've heard horror stories, please put it down in the comments below, man. I really am interested. I'd like to hear what on earth happened, you know, with some of these bikes out there. So what I'm doing right now is I'm gonna change out the small O-rings. I'm gonna put those on the little studs that are here, and then I'll put the larger O-rings on the block side, or on the head side, I should say, not the block, but the head. There's the small part number, guys. Okay, that's the small ones. You'll have to look up the big ones. I just have a pile of them, so I don't even know what they are. There I am doing your homework for you. So, put these O-rings on here. I'm going to take a little bit of my assembly lube, put it on the bearing surfaces here. Just because there's not going to be any oil pressure until the thing starts running. The last thing I need is to have metal grinding against each other. You can also use just engine oil, a little drop of engine oil in there. But I've got assembly lube, so that's what I'm going to use. Let's go up to the engine side here. Take my new O-rings, set those right in here. I'm going to take a little bit more assembly lube and just touch each one of the valve tappets on the top, along with the bearing surfaces. Forgot those. And the next part, I'm going to bring in my cam and then set that. I'm going to pull the chain over this way, set the thing in place, and then loop the chain on there, make sure it's in the right place before I proceed. Everything is lined up correctly. I'm going to bring my bearing cap in. Just set that into place. Okay. I'm going to go get my tools so I can press that thing back down. Okay, once we get all these on, we're going to start tightening them down evenly, keeping an eye on kind of the distance that you've got on each of the studs. That's going to be a good telltale sign as to how evenly you're tightening them down. You may need to use a wrench to tighten them down. It's a 19 millimeter. You can also kind of gauge it too on the studs themselves You know, if you're getting close to the top there, just wind the other ones down to that same location. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. Just get it, and keep it close. Basically, you're just trying to not bind up anything as you go down on this thing. So the next part is we're going to take this last piece that's out of the kit, and we want to make sure that they fit. It fits into the cams, the end of the cams here. In this case, it does not, so I'm going to have to turn the cams just a little bit, and there we go. That one turned. I think the other one did too, a little bit. So you want to make sure that so that one fit. This one did not yet. It's close, not quite there. There's that one, okay. See how that fits? So they have little recesses here on the back side, you can see it. And little magnets. Once you get the cam straightened out, it fits right into place. And it fits flat against the head. The next thing we're going to do now is install the nuts. So I'm going to install the nuts, but I'm not going to tighten them down yet. Okay, they have a very specific torque sequence. So once I get all these on there, I'll bring it back. Once you get all the nuts in, but you did not tighten them down, take your chain guide, install that, and put the nuts on there, and do not tighten them down. So all of the nuts are going to get torqued down in a sequence. This is the sequence right here. So pause the video, take a screenshot of it. That's what it needs to look like. I'm not going to go through and show you all of my torquing all these down, but they're going to get torqued down to 10 Newton meters. 10. The last few that we're going to do right here. So we got this one, 25. Okay. After that, we're going to remove all the stud bolts here. After all of the bolts on the bearing cap are installed and torqued down properly, the next thing we're going to do is reinstall the cam chain tensioner. Make sure my O-ring's clean and good to go, and put the cap back on. And these bolts are going to get installed at 8 Newton meters. Sorry you guys can't see this, but you know what I'm doing. Okay, last but not least, we're going to remove this locating pin. And then we're going to recheck the valves, especially the valves that we just did. So there it is, guys. That's how you adjust the valves on a K1600. I know you got something out of this. I won't even say that I hope you did. I know you did. Maybe what you learned is that you don't want to do that job. And if you don't want to do that job, send it over to me. I'll do it for you. I've got the tools, I got the time, I got the talent, and I got the parts. So guys, if you do need a valve check, or you need anything else on your K1600, please do contact me, Kirk, at Kirk's Motorrad Shop, or through the contact page at Kirk's Motorrad Shop. Call me up. You can find my number on Google, and you guys can, maybe you'll see your bike right here. I've been learning a lot about these, and certainly have enough experience with them to take care of your bike for you. So do check out my website, check out some of my other videos. Thanks so much for watching this rather lengthy video, and guys, I hope to see you on the next one. Take care.